Hello, everyone. So, as you know, the government has gone completely mad for what's new there in this country. But first of all, it was 20,000 people, which is about the population of Cavan Town. 10,000 is in Cavan Town. There or thereabouts, 11,000, uh, give or take, in Cavan Town. So that's the population of a whole town, first of all. That's half the population. And then you probably add Bayabo, Ballygym stuff. That's just putting in perspective 20,000. So that's still a lot of people. And you have to think about how they're going to be screwed. How are we going to get them housing? How are we going to give them healthcare? Again, this is a lot of issues. And you think about Irish society at the moment. Think about how many people on the waiting list at the moment. There's over a million people in the state, was in the state before the Ukraine crisis. There was a million people waiting on waiting lists, and probably it's over that, probably 1.5 million waiting for hospital treatments across the whole state. And to add another 200,000 to this now, which is completely insane. I don't know where or who's ordered them to take it in, because again, they must have no backbone in Dublin to say to the European Union, we can take in at most, I think probably Ireland will be able to take in is about 5,000. At most 5,000. I don't think anything above that is feasible for any country to do. Well, Ireland wouldn't be able to deal with it. At most, I do think 5,000 would probably be the most that Ireland could deal with, or even less. Probably even only 1,000, 2,000. Given everything that's happening at the moment, housing crisis, homeless crisis, you have to think about all this first. You can't just pluck them in the field and leave them there. You can't do that. And it's insane. It's completely insane. I don't know what kind of lunatics in the government have to said this is okay, that this is okay, that we can do this. Even though they're just manufacturing a big crisis. Because again, it's manufacturing a big crisis. If you bring 200,000 people over here, it's putting strain on everything. That's a 1% increase in the population. They just arrive overnight. It's a huge demand. And I know people saying to be all well in the different parts of the country, but it's a huge demand on services, local services that already stretch the limit. Take for example the house and waiting lists. It's a huge the house and waiting lists or home waiting lists or into that. There's huge strain across every county in the country. No counties up is going well basically in this sense, because there's a housing crisis in every part of this country. Um, you have to think of that. And again, it's complete the definition of insanity. Let's be honest. And I know people are saying you should help these people out and X, Y, and Z. And obviously that's okay. But again, you can't bring in people if you haven't got the means to help them out. But again, Ireland hasn't got the means to help out 200,000 people. We have to be honest with ourselves. We can't even help the people that's in the state. There's people lying homeless on the streets of Dublin. We can't even help them, let alone help other people. And obviously, as I said, probably only about 5,000 people could definitively help. And again, as I said, France and Germany has taken in less people compared to Ireland, a small little island. So they should do more. The West of the European Union before Saint Ireland, you should do more plucking it down Ireland. And obviously too, I want to just briefly talk about this. I know a woman that did take in a woman and a child, and her father's over in Ukraine fighting, and she's an elderly enough woman. Um, and she likes obviously having people because she's on her own and her son's in Australia. And she it's company for her. And at the end of the day, and again, you sure you would agree, the price of food's gone up, things like that. You take that elderly woman again, she's only getting a pension. She's only getting a few bob in the pension a week. And you think the government would be like, you're kindly taking them two people into your house. You know what we do? We give you an extra few bob to put towards groceries and things like that. And you think that'd be reasonable because again, she's an elderly woman, and expecting her to obviously the woman is helping around the house too and things like that. And obviously, she probably will look for a job. Eventually, probably will look for a job. She's waiting for, for cadetras or whatever. But this is the thing. These people whoever take in refugees in the house, they have a burden on their hands too, because they have to pay for themselves. It's hard to keep yourself alive, let alone keep anybody else alive at the moment, because the price of food's gone up, price of heating, and that's huge demand in that woman. And again, the government took these people into the country. And again, some people, have taken people in. And obviously, it's entirely up to them. The government can't force people to do it. But she done that of her own kindness of her heart to help a person out, I suppose. And, you know, it's the least you could do, give her an extra few bob a week to put towards food and things like that. Because obviously she must, because they came with very little into the country. They came with basically the clothes off the back. That's really the only thing they had really with them. And obviously that woman has to probably, pay for cadets for her to go to school and things like that. That child to go to school again. She's 5 years old, so she would be private school, yeah. So yeah, just take for example that. But I don't think we should have took it. Again, this sounds racist or whatever. But again, we have to talk feasibility. We have to talk common sense for a second. That you can't just bring in 200,000 people and be like, everything's fine, everything's cotton dandy. You know, how can you feasibly house them? How can you feasibly give them healthcare? How can you feasibly educate these people? You have to think about all this. You have to think about, because again, they didn't think about all this. And already, if it'd be different if the country was all hot and dandy and everything was going great and there wasn't any kind of issue in the country, there was no such thing as a housing issue. You know, we could take in many people and that would be fine. There wouldn't be an issue because the resources are there and we wouldn't have to worry about it. It's the fact that the resources are not there for the people that's in the state at the moment, letting them bring in more people, which is going to put strain on every part of the state's resources in terms of healthcare, housing, as I said, even mental health. Obviously, people need to probably need counselling because obviously things have happened over in Ukraine. But again, this is the thing we need to talk about because it's putting strain, and again, it's manufacturing a bigger crisis. To be totally honest, that's already happening here. Because again, it's putting more strain. What I mean with manufacturing, it's putting more strain on resources in the state here. As I deem unnecessarily, because Ireland hasn't got the means, and we have to be honest, we're under a small island of 5 million people compared to Germany or Poland or France or the UK or whatever. But the thing is too, these European Convention, and obviously was a huge talk about it, that wherever migrants land or refugees fleeing country or fleeing war or whatever, they have to seek asylum in the country they arrive in. In other words, either be Poland or it's the same when people were coming from different other countries, landing in Malta, landing in Italy. They have to seek asylum in that country. Wherever they land is the first port of call. You seek asylum in that country. That's the way it's supposed to be the law works. But again, the laws, just I don't know what you call the law. Totally answer. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. It's the definition of insanity. I don't know how we could deal with it. To be totally honest. So yeah, I don't know how the country's going to deal with it. To be totally honest, because again, that's a huge lot of restraint. 200,000 people is not. That's the population of Cavan, and along with excuse me, Monaghan allowed. Excuse me. So yeah, that's 3 counties worth of people. That is just going to arrive in about 2 months. That's hard for anybody any country to deal with. Anyway, thank you.